Hey, everybody. Happy Saturday. And if you have cats, happy Catcher Day. Beautiful day here in Ashland, Oregon. And I just got up from a little mini mini rest. I had an early day. Got together with a friend and a local councilman, becoming a part of the community, becoming part of a community watch, and got to watch some of Miss Taro D's live video. If any of you had seen it, oh my God, she was absolutely gorgeous. Well, when isn't she? But her and Denise were hanging out. Um, and then, I got a text message to answer, and then I got played into my oil pastels, and I was just like, oh, gotta run. And so I thought I would come on, see how everybody was doing. Just in a good mood. Do some mini reads if anybody wants them. Chat about how their Saturday's going. Because you know me. Hey, Shelby. Hey, Draven. Because everybody knows that I'm about 3 hours behind most people. And if you're in the UK, even further. So, yeah, my Shan's making me some tea, and some beautiful light coming in. And so yeah, working on and off on the pastel piece, oil pastel piece, but just in a good mood and wanted to see what everybody was up to. So we have Shelby, Moonfox, and we have Draven. Hello, Draven. You are 8 hours. Yeah. So that was quite a change because I love doing shows with Jackie's Crystal Moon. She's in Cove in Ireland. And so her and I don't get to hang out too much, as we used to. And then for my Sacred Feminine, I would have a couple people like Hannah from Germany be able to pop in. So I think I might have to start reworking some of my show times now that I'm in a different time zone, so that I can keep doing, having my peeps be able to come in. And you have been writing a bit today. So, yep, you're on the East Coast. It's so weird for me to say that I'm in the Pacific Northwest. It just sometimes it just I know I just left the East Coast, Michael or Draven, sorry. Um no, I've been an East Coaster for quite some time, except for when I was living in Arizona back in the early, in the 2000s actually. And was got ended up going back to New York with Shan, and there for 15, 16 years. And then, it was time for a change. So I drove us last April on Easter Sunday. Actually, we left and we got here the following Thursday. So it's still hard to wrap my head around that it's been a year, and that I did that drive, and just kind of where everything is right now. So yeah, I'm good. I do have a slight. Do I really? I was told the way sometimes I talk, when I say certain words. But let me tell you, when I lived briefly in Massachusetts, about 2 weeks in, I was starting to talk. I was picking up the pot, I mean, for a while, I mean, it was wild. And then when I moved to Arizona, um, one of my coworkers, he was from New York. I'm not from the city. I'm told Western New York has its own kind of accent to it. But started talking with him, and started the New York accent started coming out. So, but yeah, um, been all over except for the South. Haven't been to. Well, it was beautiful to drive up through Wyoming, Nebraska, Utah on the way out here. So, oh, do they still use that term, Shelby? Really? Too many massholes. Oh man, that was a term back in the day. Starting in my 20s, wasn't sure if yeah, Shelby seconds that. And if that was still a thing, but oh, it was driving, anywhere nowadays has gotten bad. They follow laws pretty much better here, but you still have, the ones in the big trucks, you're not moving fast enough, they get up right behind you, or if you're at a light and then their truck just comes all up into your rear view mirror and oh goodness. Amber still uses it. Now Amber is psychopomp. Psychopomp in the void, right? I have really need to make a list of all the new people that I've met, especially through Selena. I mean, I've met Courtney, I've met Bridget, um, I met Shay, Carolina. So many people. It's our community is really growing. And don't get me started. Oh, on those blue lights. Oh, I can't stand those blue lights. I really, really can't. But I miss being in Massachusetts. I used to do the karaoke's with my gay friend Garrett, and our thing would be like Thursday nights and Saturday nights at the Golden Dragon, and so lots of great memories. Massachusetts, and people don't realize the East Coast is beautiful. I think every part of this country is beautiful, and it's just sad that how it's just interesting how nature, no matter how devastating it can be, the cycle of life, how terrifying that can be, especially, predator, food chain, everything. And it's just that I think the ugliest thing in the world is sometimes what people have become, and the areas that are beautiful. Ooh, here comes my cup of tea. I'm on this side today. Thank you, my dear. I am. It's hot. I got it. I got it. Thank you. He's shy, so there he is. He's in the reflection. It was a Shan Squatch society.
They're talking on Capitol Hill about making the silver blues illegal.
Okay, we'll talk later. He's all about the politics. I'm like, no. I met you through Selena as well. Yes. But I called him Shan Squash because that's a favorite little nickname that Tom from Early Ritual has given Shan. Because of Shan haven't seen an actual Sasquatch when he was younger. And so he's like, Sasquatch. It shows that nature, humans, it's just, but I will say that driving across the country last year, and passing through some very red states, that it's just amazing how once you take politics out of a conversation, stopping by, people were just extremely friendly, stopping to get gas. Bags, you're traveling. Oh my goodness, here. How many bags do you need? Oregon. Wow. I mean, it was just people, so many people were kind, they were friendly, and it's just sad how things, how people like to create diversity in the way of not diversity, divisiveness, and apparently there's supposed to be some sort of mass protest across the country. I stay out of the news. I can't handle it. I'll have a couple Instagram accounts I'll flip through and kind of see what's going on. But I got to take myself out of a regular news cycle because it's too much for me, my mental health, my emotional health. Let's see. Yeah, it's nice if you know where to go, like the small town and the nature. I've been thinking Maine is gorgeous. I got briefly to go up into Maine. I'm no longer friends with the girl. Her name, we had been best friends for like, since we were 13. And it's unfortunate that, money came in the way. But I lived in Massachusetts, or when she would live in that area, I got to visit her because she had, she was wealthy. And I got to see parts of Maine. I got to stay briefly in Rhode Island. Oh my God, Rhode Island. Briefly in New Hampshire. I mean, the East Coast really is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Um, but I have never been to really any place south, so maybe someday. But I do say I will say I miss my Arizona. I miss Flagstaff and Sedona. But let me back it up a little bit. I live next to the worst route I believe in the country, Route One, Route 1A. There's also Interstate 95. Does that all sound familiar? I just wanted to make sure. She goes, so Shelby says she was thinking of going out for a walk right now, but it's cold. It's a little chilly here. I mean, outside it's about, it's supposed to get up to 70, I think, today. But depending on where the breeze is blowing and what part, yeah. So let me just back down. I want to make sure I didn't miss too much. Yep, she is Psychopomp of the Void. So that is Amber. Makes me think of the song. Remember the singer Amber back in the 2000s? La da dee. No, she's like the song was sexual. So every time I hear the name Amber, I think of the song that she did. Your love is sexual. Beautiful voice. Let's see. I met you through. Really? Is that how we met? Through Michelle Marie's channel. Isn't this insane? Me saying we can't live without nature, but nature can live without us. You got it. And yes, without the politics, people actually do care. Most definitely. I met amazing people in those red states. And there were those signs and things that we saw for a while where it was just like, oh, but wherever we stopped, people were friendly. If they could, they hold the door open for you if you had a question. Yeah, things are right over there. It was like we never felt unsafe. Route 20, do tell. Shelby, what's about Route 20? I'm not familiar. I don't think I took it much. Rhode Island and Maine. Yes. If you're ever on the East Coast again, I hope so someday, go down to the Appalachian Mountains. I will have to at some point, if able to, because Nancy, Crohn's Intuition, she's in North Carolina, and she talks about how beautiful the Appalachian Mountains are. Oh, let's see. No, I was in the. Oh, that was that heavy stuff, the kind of stuff that makes your ears bleed. You're just like, dude, what are you saying? You're just. Excuse me. Sip, sip. So yeah, Black Death. Yeah, Black Metal Death. Yep. A lot of those heavy bands. My grandmother had friends up in Maine and where they live right now along the coast past Acadia Park. Yeah. Originally, when Shannon and I first met, we were going to, our goal was to move to Maine. He was just like, well, when we're able to leave, he goes, well, we could go to Oregon. He goes, but I've never been to the East Coast. He knew how I talked about it. And he saw pictures of Maine and he fell in love. Then for a while, he got us a subscription to Down East magazine, and some books on Maine. And we were actually going to make Maine our home. But yeah, things change. I love it still, but it's not my go-to. Yeah, for me, I like listening to all different kinds. And you know me, get me on music. But yeah, this is one of the things I love about Instagram. There's a couple of I don't know if you call them channels or if you call them accounts on Instagram where people are bringing back. I think one's called Post Punk or something punk 80s, and they show all the old like snippets of videos of Susie and the Banshees, Erasure, Depeche Mode, The Cure. And they had rhythmics on there, so there's a lot that I love watching. Some with Def Leppard. I mean, it's just it just makes me nuts to think of how old I am, and people are saying, "Well, this album was released 35 years ago," and I'm like, I was at that concert for that album 35 years ago. Are you kidding me? I mean, feeling my 50s, y'all. Um, let's see. Shelby said Route 20 is a really old route with really old road signs and people just oh. I know there have been some stories along the way about certain haunted highways, and I'm not sure if one of them there was one with a truck that people are on a road at night. I think this is East Coast. Hi, Judith. Um, they say that people have been chased by a ghost vehicle of a truck that tries to run them off the road. Really scary stuff. So Judith is here. Hello, my dear. I wanted to pop on. When I knew that Miss Taro D wasn't on anymore, she was with Denise today. So Google Dead Man's Curve. Yep, Ohio. Is that the one, Draven, where they have that haunted vehicle that chases people? This kind of stuff just it scares me, but it also fascinates me. It's just like, oh, we gotta go, we gotta go. Yeah, this is something that we have heard over the years, especially when Halloween, when all the channels like the Travel Channel, Discovery, they replay a lot of the old videos from like the late 90s, 2000s, and stuff where they document stories and people's accounts. So yeah, some really spooky stuff. Um, Let's see, you drive on it long enough and you'll see the roadside littered with, oh my goodness. Down the road here, I don't know if that's where it happened, but there is a piece of metal on those side rails completely peeled back. It's a mess. Um, I think it was last month. It may have been 2 months already, but the local area here, high school students went out driving. They were at a party and they drove them and their friends drunk, and there was a terrible accident, and two seniors or two students, high school students, lost their life. So it's so hard to get kids to understand that you just cannot drink and drive. You have to, if you're going to go to a party, make sure one of your friends, really no matter what age, make sure that there's one person who can do the driving. It was so sad to see and hear that, this area lost some students, but again, people just don't know how to drive properly. Um, I mean, not just drive properly for that one, yes, in a hurry or speeding, animals, whatever it may be. That one has a lot wrapped into it, a lot of death, even from the wagon days. A ghost road runner, muscle car, and a faceless hitchhiker. He is not nice. He tried to FAFO with me one. So you actually had an experience. I don't know what FAFO stands for. Um, but you had an interaction. Ooh, Draven. It's kind of like we all lean in. It's like, do tell. These stories fascinate me, especially when people say, oh, spirits and all this stuff isn't real. Actually, yeah, it is exactly what it is. I don't know, but find out. Fuck around and, fuck around and find out. So you had that experience. Wow. Well, we're glad that you're here to live to tell the tale. Oh my goodness. Um, but yeah, I had experiences. Yeah, growing up. Mm-mm. They're all too real. They're all too real. So Michael's taking. I mean, Draven. I keep saying Mike because I automatically go to your your second name. I apologize, Draven. Taking a break from writing. I'm taking a break from my oilies, as I call them, my old pastels. I call them my oilies. And decided to got a little chilly in the house, even though it's nice outside. Still gets cool in the house. So I was like, ooh, let's get some hot tea. I've had enough coffee for one day. Let's see, what's this? Right now, they're trying to build a median all along Route 20 because taking a left turn is so deadly. There's a bunch of businesses and residential area along the way, which doesn't make it better. People got to slow down, take the turn slowly. I mean, my God, sometimes the way people drive, it's like I hate to say it's like, like in a hurry. Uh, they're in a hurry to get to hell, as the saying was growing up. And I'm not saying that's where they're going past, but it's just like, really, why are you risking, you know? But ooh, I wonder who this person is. Spirits, let's take a look. So he is a faceless hitchhiker. So he is not nice. So let's talk about the faceless hitchhiker. I was in the mood to pull some cards. Let's see. I've got my nested tarot. So all my guys coming in to protect me from all negative energy and entities. I'm grounded. What can you tell me? So this is in Ohio. Let me find. I hope you all don't mind me doing this. Ohio 125. Dead Man's Curve. There is a faceless hitchhiker who is not nice. I'm assuming he tries to cause accidents with people. So who is this faceless hitchhiker? What can the cards, what can Spirit tell us about who this is? Especially if they attempt to try to mess with people intentionally to cause them harm. So who is this person? This faceless hitchhiker in Ohio on Route 125. Let's see. Well, now this is interesting, the Empress card. Let's see. Hey, Jax, what's going on, girl? Oh, some more information. I was at a drive and he showed up with an interest in us, and his energy was really bugging my wife, so I put a shield out. Oh, well, I got the Empress because I'm asking about this individual. Here, let me put that there. So he actually had, whoa, Knight of Swords, Empress and Knight of Swords. Interesting. Ooh, no, that's too many coming out. Although, this kind of sounds like him. Grr. I'm going to keep, actually, what was the two cards that just came flying out? Ace of Cups. So to me, I'm feeling emotional instability right there. Ace of Wands, combative, conflicting. I'm very interested in this Empress. The Empress is, Mother Earth, Gaia, all of our senses. That Knight of Swords coming around, coming fast, coming quick. We're talking about that section of road as well. It's interesting with this Empress card. Can I have a clarification on the Empress card for this gentleman? I'm wondering this has to connect with maybe an energy, why he does what he does, because of a woman he knew, or something to do with a mother. Let's see what we get. Ace of Wands. Okay, Tom, where are you? Ace of Wands. So, Empress energy, Ace of Wands, inspiration, energy coming in, willpower, maybe a very willful, inspiring feminine energy. Maybe could have been. So for me, this, of course, we all know that doesn't have to be the actual sex of the person, but this Empress energy feels like, let me see if there's any other information. I put some energy out. He is not nice. So let me just take a peek down to see. It's east of Cincinnati. Okay. Enjoy your walk, my dear. And hey, girl, hey. Oh, hey, girl, hey. That Dead Man's Curve haunting is supposed to be from a hitchhiker that was in the area in the 60s. So interesting. Well, the Knight of Wands, for me, automatically with this kind of a reading, this is saying something fast moving in, something very quick, possibly even didn't see it coming. And that could be why, with that aggression, with that Five of Wands and the Ace of Cups, emotional at times when people, die violently. They say their spirit tends to hang around, or can't move on because of, the emotional trauma and anger that it brings up. Let me just moved down here a little bit. So I live 30 minutes north of the Michigan, Ohio border. So let me pull that back up. Leaves a stain of energy. Yes. Um, but I saw where Allison mentioned 60s hiker. I wanted to focus on east of Cincinnati. Okay. The Ace of Wands, presenting. It's interesting that Empress and Ace of Wands. Let me let me grab some of my tiles. So this gentleman, this hitchhiker, who tries to cause accidents. What else can you tell us about him? Okay, so his main energy. Oh. Okay, I got the King of Pentacles. So for me, I'm focusing on the tiles that this is the significator. This is and the kings are very interesting, especially the King of Pentacles, because they're the providers. They're the ones that provide, our stability, our security, our housing, our food, our also connected to the earth, well with finances, business, and then the underlying energy, well, the tangible, of course, is the moon. So this is going to be shadows, secrets, things that were hidden. So for me, this could also be acknowledging that he was hidden. He may have not been very visible on the road. And that underlying energy is the high priestess. And so I'm feeling maybe with the high priestess that there was intuitively knew that maybe he was not supposed to go out or be on that road. There was something that he didn't listen to internally. And it was a dark road. And I know I'm not reading, I'm reading these two also as on a as an intuitive level with the circumstances. They have reworked that stretch of highway several times. Crashes still happen. Wow. I believe he has become an egregore that has evolved and taken on the fear and the legend. Ooh. Which kind of that could be too with the high priestess, for me, the keys, the wisdom, the psychic abilities. But it's really so for the king, to me, then, because kings are grounded in nature. They're the stubborn, the pentacles. I'm learning the pentacles are, kind of like the stubborn when it comes to astrology. They're the stubborn people, the Taurus, the Capricorn. I believe it was my notes. There was another earth one. I know Allison will pop in and mention that, but those, I wonder if this individual might have had and was under any of those signs or born under any of those signs. But that Ace of Wands, and that is interesting how that Empress flew out. The Empress again is that nurturing energy. It's the feminine. It's the all of our senses connecting to the earth. And then that Ace of Wands. So I don't know if he was maybe inspired to go out that night. And I'm just going along with this. Laying whatever comes to my mind, I'm just going to, go with it. But again, that Knight of Swords. Now, do they know if the person who hit him was somebody that he knew, or was this like a random incident? Because it's interesting, because I got the Five of Wands, conflict. So there feels like there was a conflict. And then when you add that, that Knight of Swords, people who rush in, they say things, fighting words, impulsive, or that Empress could represent a parental figure, or possibly I could say a female again. It could be a male too that can express the Empress. But for me, there could have been maybe a fight or a disagreement. That Ace of Wands, even though that's potential, and that's usually like creative, inspiring, bringing new energy, motivation to something. But it feels like to me that there might have been some sort of argument with somebody that he had known or he was close to, went out, and then boom, the accident and that over sense of emotions overwhelming. I mean, when you get the Five of Wands, usually, yeah, when there's that kind of conflict, emotions are out of control. Words get said, cutting words, fighting words. Very interesting. Hello, Christina. How are you, my dear? Good to see you. I hope you're having a beautiful day in Australia. Let's see. So I don't know. I just wanted to play around with that. See what that was all about. What's the underlying energy? 10 of Cups. Well, that's interesting. An end to a happy? No. So yeah, we're just going to put those cards back in there. I don't think that's part of the reading, but very, very interesting. I added you on Instagram. Very cool. All righty. So while I have my cards out, if anybody has a question or might want to pull cards on a haunted area. Now, the one that Shelby was talking about, Route 20, all the accidents that are there, even though how many times they have to fix or work on the median, she said the medians and stuff. I can send you info on that stretch. Yeah, that would be a cool, full-on reading to do. Shelby, Route 20. What is the energy around all the accidents on Route 20? And Shelby, was that Route 20 is in Massachusetts, correct? Because you were mentioning Maine and Rhode Island as well. What is the main energy for that route and why there's so many accidents? And sometimes there doesn't need to be anything paranormal. It could just be poor judgment. 9 of Cups. For Route 20, 9 of Cups. Isn't that something? Emotional satisfaction. Accomplishment. Of course, you've got the cups. Drinking. Let's see what the next card would be. 3 of Pentacles. Collaboration, working together. And then it goes the Moon again. Things that are in the shadows, things can't be seen. So I'm just wondering if it's a collaborative, effective people maybe celebrating too much. Maybe they're, impaired. Or they're excited to get somewhere. And that moon, though that moon to me could also represent something that is hidden or that is unknown. What is the energy of the land that Route 20 is on? What is the energy? Ooh, what just flew out? The Hangman. So it's saying, let's look at the excuse me, the lay of the land from a different perspective. Gain a different view. Let's see, that flew out. So let's see, let's do a past, present, future, that being so in the recent, not in the recent past, but in the past, the energy of that Route 20 prior to becoming a highway or an interstate. Knight of Pentacles, things moved slowly. People took, to me, this is representing things moved slowly. People took their time. There was no rush. And then, of course, the highway gets built. 3 of Swords causes a lot of pain. There's sorrow. That Knight of Pentacles is also making me feel protectors of the land. The Knight of Pentacles, tended to be the ones on the battlefield where they said that they held back. They were the ones that were able to strategize, see where people were on the battlefields before people would make their moves. Um, they wouldn't rush into anything. They took their time. They made sure they knew the lay of the land. They knew um, where people had to be, where things needed to be. So for me, that energy, that Knight of Pentacles feels very much like protected land. There's like an energy um, that looks over the land. Of course, in the Three of Swords, there was a lot of pain, there was a lot of sadness that went on there. Well, that is going on there as well currently. And then the Hermit. So the Hermit withdrawal, going within. This is like kind of like past, present, up into future. So maybe people start taking more of a. So for me, this Hermit, this introspection, this going in for reflection feels kind of also studying, trying to get an idea. Do you know if anyone, Shelby, has been doing? Oh no, Shelby went for her walk. Um, for me, that Hermit could very well, to me, in future, is people taking a look within and saying, okay, maybe studying, um, you know, investigating. Let's take a look. Another clarifier. I like clarifier for the trump cards, but it's the search within, the light within, going within, self-discovery. So maybe going in, discovering the land. Um, and interesting enough, too, I wonder if anybody sees an individual with a lantern, because sometimes, too, in places that I've read on before, people can see lights moving through woods, orbs, so to speak. Do you have any areas of interest on the PNW? I think there's been some here and there. Most of what we see has to do with Bigfoot. Now, I did read on a show. I did a show one day when I was reading on. We actually have a hotel here in Ashland. The owners forbid anybody from coming in to do investigations, even talking to the staff, or other residents. They're afraid that their establishment is going to attract negativity or unwanted attention. So I read on that location, and recently the house that Shan grew up in was haunted. Him and his brothers had seen spirits, and they had heard things at night. So we did a reading on that. It's been a while. I can't quite remember, but there was a girl. We did the reading with Ginger Faye. But let's see. Christina says, I feel that the area has some dense energy and affects some people in ways, and that's why accidents happen. That Hermit card makes me feel like there may be people see orbs, they see lights moving through the trees, that could possibly cause a distraction for some, but I want to see another. Hey, Tom, what's going on? Five of Cups, sadness, grief. So, yeah, this is going to continue. I don't know if the land needs a blessing. I've been pulling some cards on we were talking, just, shooting the shit, Tom, and Shelby and Draven mentioned, now Draven actually had a interaction with one that infamous, here, let me pull that back up. The faceless hitchhiker in Ohio. Here, did I? So yeah, this is some of your language, Tom. Well, Tom taught me what egregores were. So Draven was talking that he was picking up on the sudden death and imprinted on the space and cannot move. I believe he has become an egregore that has evolved and taken on fear and the legend. Could that be something similar to with what people refer to as a poltergeist, where there is an energy that's created, and if the energy is not healed or addressed, it takes on a life of its own. People, especially with high psychic abilities, especially emotional. They get extremely emotional. That's what they're finding in some of these teens too, that they're able to, because of emotions, hormones, and gifts that they are born with, that we sometimes create um, an energy outside of us, which we feel is also a haunting, but it comes from our energy. And after a time, we lose sometimes control of it, and it becomes a life of its own and a personality of its own. Um, but yeah, Draven lives near the Ohio, where he actually had a run-in. It's east of Cincinnati. I'm trying to find things for aggressor. So yeah, whoops. So yeah, there we go, Tom. Ohio 125 demands curve. So just pulling cards on certain areas with their energies and see what's what. Ohio's 120, Ohio 125's headless hitchhiker. So I was looking at the one that Shelby was talking about with the hermit, the five of cups, with that three of swords, knight of pentacles. There's still something protecting the Interstate 20 that she was talking about, or Route 20. But yeah, Tom, I already put the cards away. I had a question for you about the hitchhiker. We had some really interesting cards, but Tom, and anybody else who wants to suggest, the Empress came out with the Ace of Wands. The Empress actually flew out when I was asking. So for me, I was feeling that could have been a feminine energy, whether this was a male expressing a strong feminine energy, or this could have been a maternal, a girlfriend, it could even be family, a sibling, but having, for me, that, oh, Tom, I had the Ace of Wands, and when I pulled it out, I was like, okay, now where's Tom? So the Ace of Wands has already been here, Tom. I think it announced you. So for me, what do y'all think? The Ace of Wands, it's kind of like the universe kind of thrusting in, saying, being inspired, unless he was going to, I don't know. As I'm talking, I'm thinking of the cards. My brain is moving fast because I'm thinking of stories, because I'm a writer too. So I'm thinking, well, this could possibly happen, and this may very well be. So you're not familiar with that one. So Allison, what did you get? I'll just say that this well precedes the hitchhiker incident. The energy's there. All right. And Tom says, yes, definitely plays into the egregore concept. And honestly, you can take it from the idea of a birthing coming from the Empress, especially with the Ace of Wands. Now, that's an interesting perspective. Wow. Here, let me put my cards away. Let me pull my tiles. I want to see something here. So, see, this is why I love having different readers look at the cards. We all lend a different perspective. That stretch of roads has been known deadly for over 200 years. Now, I think for something like that, maybe a mediumship person that would be able, like Amy Allen, would be able to. Okay, so I got 2 cup cards. Well, 2 cup tiles. Page of Cups. And the Ace of Cups. So this is very interesting. The Ace and the Page of Cups. So the Ace of Cups, new emotions coming through, a sense of a sense of anticipation, excitement, emotional happiness, overflowing, new friendships, new love interests, uh, new beginnings, new emotional beginnings. And then, the page that basically takes that cup and what can I do with that? The pages are very curious. Um, the intuition, wanting to learn more, wanting to feel more. What kind of wisdom, intuition can the fish provide? So there's a lot of emotion involved. I wonder what kind of deck would be good for. I mean, I have the Ghost Tarot, but I don't know. Now I want to know what Allison pulled. Um, and look what came up again for that, the Five of Wands. So there was a conflict that did take place. And then I got the Strength card. Strength in conflict, strength in numbers, emotional component to that. But what were they curious about? What were they exploring? So this could very well have been maybe territory before settlers. This could be with or without settlers. Okay, I got the temperance. That's the lack of moderation, trying to balance. So it's like there's been a attempt in the past to try to balance the energies of this land. We got the alchemy element again here to this. The creation, trying to create balance. I mean, this is a lot of water here right in the beginning, but then I do also have the burden, the Ten of Wands. So this land is heavy. Someone was saying it was heavy, dense energy. That strength card, I think, is acknowledging that energy is strong. But those emotions, a lot of emotion plays into that. And for me, that temperance sense right on top. To me, that feels like that's what the land needs to be. But we've seen some of the shows where they say that, like Amy Allen, they'll go and they'll read energy of a land, and some say that there's this land just is owned or taken by an element, beings that were there before people, maybe of this world or not of this world. Some of those energies claim ownership of the land in certain areas, whether through magical practices that conjure them, that were created for the land to protect. With that Page of Cups, it's just, for me, it's just like that curiosity of how much emotion, how much intent can I put into creating something for this land? And there was a lot of emotion behind that. And then I get, the conflicts, the burdens afterwards, and then that temperance. There needing to be a balance to the land, a moderation of I don't know if who goes. I don't know if this land is heavily also investigated, because a lot of times when an area gets investigated or developed, as we've all heard, when buildings are built on ancient land, burial land, that can open up a whole emotional you know bomb within itself. But this is very interesting. So I want to see what everybody else is sharing. Okay. Yep. And yes, regarding the Empress. I want to read that again, Allison. I pulled a few cards, Heather, and I'll just say that this well precedes the hitchhiker. Yep. Let's see. Honestly, let me get caught up here in mind. Honestly, you can take it from the idea of birthing, coming from the Empress, especially with the Ace of Wands, so that this was something that was birthed from the land. The Ace of Wands, interesting. Now, case Tom acknowledges playing into the egregore regarding the Empress. 200 years. Tom's like, now I want to know what Allison pulled. Draven, emotion, fear, hope, love, anguish, anxiety. It stacks, and something in the land is holding it for the egregore to feed. Ooh. See, now, Draven, it would be cool to have you on with Tom, Allison, and I and pull cards on some, haunted or active, paranormally active or known areas. That would be cool. And it would make sense. Yes. Emotion, fear, hope, all of that. And of course, you got people trying to struggle for control of the land. And it could also be a struggle for trying to tame or trying to, because people can tell energy, especially our ancestors, and this is going way back where people can read the energies of the earth. They knew the potential of the energy, what could possibly be done with it. And of course, when you've got conflicts trying to take control or be, or utilize the energy of a land for whatever purposes, especially way back when, if people were suffering, if water was drying up or crops weren't ripening or harvesting, they would turn to the gods. They would turn to say, well, make this right. And that could be too the struggles with, the emotions, the magic that might have gone in there. Although I really haven't seen anything that's acknowledging really magic. I just see a lot of, well, magic can be emotions too. You don't necessarily need a wand or a magician, or magician's wand to be able to be a card or an energy of a manifester. You can conjure things through emotions. You can, like Allison taught me, able to do spell work and putting emotions behind that. Because that burden card could very well, that Ten of Wands could have been like, maybe the civilization, these people who were living and working on the land at that time. Things became extremely burdensome. Conflicts broke out. And that strength card could just be also acknowledging that only the strong remained. But again, that leftover energy. So, yeah, Heather's going on a little trip here. Heather, you are talking about a lot of water, but it seems like is a lot of fire coming up with the wands. Fire and water. True. And like the top three are waters, they're cups. And then I get the two here. And then previously I had that ace. So within this reading, I've had ding. Did somebody just send me cards or something? Just making sure this wasn't someone. Nope. So let me just shut my phone off. But yeah. So passions and energy, aggression, especially fueled by emotions. I know having two fire signs and then a water sign or lots of water, over the fire, that can create quite the steam, the passion, the energy, the aggressiveness. That could play into a conflict balance pattern. And let's see, Christina says, you're right, Heather needs a medium to guide the lost soul to the light. Well, for that particular individual, it's possible. Like, again, I've seen shows with Amy Allen, and to me, she's one of the legit ones. I've watched her over the years, and there have been places where she goes in and says, yep, okay, you'll need somebody who is let's say a Christian priest. The spirit cannot move on unless a strong male Christian. She would sometimes prescribe these different people to come in to help clear certain homes that were just mind blowing. Sometimes she mentioned witch doctor. Sometimes she would mention you need a Wiccan priest and high priestess, or you need a certain type of witch, or I mean, the looks on people's faces, when she would tell them that. But there were shows where she would walk a land and a place that she even be looking at going, what the hell are these things? These things were here a long, long time ago. They've laid claim to this land. And she'll be like, this land is just not fit for humans. There's no way to be able to maybe move on certain entities or beings that had claimed this land as their own. So, you know, maybe if someone went to go, try to approach that individual, but like Draven was saying, he approaches people openly, I guess. I don't know, as in physically, Draven, apparition wise, or you can just see it psychically or feel it psychically. Um, Damn, sorry, Heather. Don't be sorry. You're making dinner. It was a quick card. Yeah, that's fine. I love just grabbing cards too. You're not a card reader. It's like me reading Greek. I can't grasp it. Um, we're always learning, and Tom is in the kitchen too. What you doing? Making Bigfoot burgers? I can say that he's outside playing guitar. That was funny. I'm not going to be able to forget that. Oh, you got the Hangman too. Ace of Cups. So we got at least two cards. Allison, I'm on here. Let me pull some. So the gentleman on the road. I would like to know. Let me just read at. Well, Christina, let me ask if there's any way to move him on. There has to be. Or am I not looking? I was starting to shuffle for that, and I'm hearing that's not the right question to ask. And it's interesting that he remains faceless. I'm wondering if he doesn't want his identity known. What's the secret? Because I know, like Amy used to say too, that apparitions would change when she would do her walkthroughs. They would present themselves in one form to either scare or to confuse, and then finally at one point they would end up showing truly who they were. Well, let me just ask again. This faceless male hitchhiker in Ohio. Let's do, yeah, I'm going to do a 5-card too on this one. Okay, main card. What crosses him? The 4 of Pentacles. Okay. So the main card for him is the Fool. This individual, spontaneous, naive. In this situation, it's feeling also very reckless. Again, like in the previous reading, he had a feeling with that high priestess that should not go out that night. But what's crossing him is the 4 of Pentacles. Something to do with money, someone withholding money. Maybe that's why he had to walk. He ventured out. I'm just kind of going with the flow here. So for me, the next card is going to represent recent past, 2 of Wands. Something was being planned. Something was being put into the works. He had a vision of something that he wanted. And then that 4 of Pentacles, could possibly that be a result of holding money, withholding money. Now the top card is the consciousness of what was going on. 9 of Swords. There was anxiety. There was fear. There was depression. Underlying energies, nostalgia. 6 of Cups. Could possibly be why he's still there. the place holds nostalgia for him, or to him too. It's just connected to his past, maybe not being able to move forward. Now, future cards interesting. It's the Six of Swords, so it's quite possible, Christina, he can be moved on. Um, but I'm feeling moving forward, crossing over. But that Nine of Swords, there was a lot. Again, that heavy energy. All right, I'm going to stop there until I get a little more information from Draven and look into this, and I can get maybe a better spread, or maybe ask more specific questions. But I'm going to say it was a special area in some sort of way, and then something dramatic happened there, and it created a shift. Just a guess. But sometimes it's good to go on those intuitive hits. Um, I'm cutting up meat, Tom, because that's what because that's what she does. She's the butcher. Just kidding. We were all horror movie. Allison could be the butcher. She could be the one running around with the cleaver. Tom, I don't know what you would be running around doing. I mean, yeah. I'm just laughing. It's got I have to laugh. Just some stuff going on, and so I just find to laugh, hang out with some friends. Apparition, and you feel his presence. Ooh, Tom is setting up his new air fryer, my old one, on his way out, and served its duty well. Yeah, I got one of those. I didn't get the basket one. I wanted something that was kind of like a toaster oven too, and I saw they had air fryer that could kind of play, also take the place of a, not take a place, but can do both. I went with that one, but a lot for me. I think I probably would have just been happy with the basket, but yeah, I do love my air fryer. Maybe it doesn't know its identity. Well, if this is that guy, though, unless you think he might, it could be, here there goes again from watching shows, but there are also, maybe step ins. Maybe this individual lost his life and another energy, maybe. Well, that would be in a body, though. It wouldn't be maybe necessarily a spirit. But people's, personality, spirits do change sometimes, especially again with stories. I've heard from in investigations where some people, if they're mean and cruel in life, for me, I was taught, well, when you go to the light, you change, you see the error of your ways, and you become a different person, and you heal and you ascend. And it's just like, I don't think so, not necessarily for everybody. Because again, through different shows I've seen, and people, people in their family that had moved on didn't change once they got to the other side. They just remained as cruel and abusive. So there's just so much that we just do not really know and understand. I don't think he felt seen in life, and it has continued in its afterlife. Was he closeted? You know, I was going to say, I was wondering about that, but I was just like, well, I don't know if I should bring that up. I'm glad I did, because I was thinking it, and Draven, you mentioned it with that Empress energy. It's possible. That was something that I had been thinking. Let's see. Well, it's quite possible. Well, it's quite possibly not the spirit of a human. The body with no face is just so it can be recognized by humans, possibly some ancient energy wanting everybody to get the out. I'm still trying to figure out that Ace of Cups and that Page of Cups. It's having those emotions, grabbing it, because the pages, they have that ability to be, immature. They're young, they're innocent. They quite don't know how to handle their emotions when they're young, or how to explore things a certain way. It's kind of like the girl with yeah, I'm referring to Heather. When we're younger and we have that crush and we're all like, oh, I'm curious about it's taking that and then being rejected and having that emotional um, upset, that immaturity, that moodiness. So those emotions coming into that play. And then again, that temperance card. They're just really, a balance needs to be maintained on that land, in that area. There is a certain balance that um, like Allison said, I think it's an energy wanting everybody off because they need to maintain it for whatever their needs are. I'm going to have to come up with a spread, because you go looking in your spreads and try to find one that would fit a question like this. I'm thinking maybe it's time to start writing some spreads and designing them to answer, to see specific questions, or where we can put cards for ideas for this. It definitely could be he doesn't know. Let's see, did I already pull that one up? Maybe he wasn't told. Ooh. Let's see. Tom says, if we run with the idea of it being born out of conflict and fear, it could be something unwanted and unknown, so it doesn't have an identity. I love this conversation. This is great. Disowning someone strips identity and belonging that may be a part of it. Wow. And Christina says, hi, Heather, talking about energies, I can feel, oh, me now. Two beautiful energies behind you, male. Two beautiful energies behind you, male, no female, especially the male supporting you and putting a hand on your shoulder. So do you mean there's no female, or there's a male and one female? Because I know I've been told about the male, that there's supposed to be, I think, one on this side. It's one of my native ancestors, or a part of a past life. Sorry, female. Well, thank you, Christina. That's nice. Tom, I'm about to start shopping for the same thing. I want to get a new one with a glass bucket container. And so now, only on Heather's channel and chat, where we talk about haunted highways, and then into bucket or non-bucket air fryers and chopping up meat. Let's see that air. Everybody says, oh, something built on an ancient burial ground, but people got to remember, this wasn't our land. Our ancestors came in and took over this country, this land, away from the people, the original inhabitants. So everything that we decided to build our stuff upon, especially even knowing that it was an actual a burial site, that it doesn't surprise me that a lot of these things happen in and around those, especially with the native people, the indigenous people, being so spiritually connected to their deities, their ancestors. They didn't mess around. And then when you try to, if you figure in those who went the way of a darker shaman, think of like skinwalkers. This is going to be a whole other different topic, but like skinwalkers and wendigos and stuff, certain beings or energies that are created, to protect, to terrorize, to possess. I mean, it's absolutely insane how many aspects to the paranormal there is. Shelby says, for me, because I have cruel people from my family who passed on, I believe that they go to sleep, like go into a slumber for many years before they can be reincarnated. That's an interesting concept. The area had a large native presence, yes. That may or may not be true, though. We don't know anything for sure until we're dead. True. We're not going to know until it's to the other side, and then it's going to be like, oh, shoot, I can't tell Allison and Tom, guys, no, it's not what you think. My goodness. What else did Shelby share? They can still be in spirit if they haven't been good in life and need to finish their mission or their goals. Yep. And sometimes I love the new and improved Allison. And Christina said both. She goes, well, I had the Ace of Cups, the Tower, the Hangman. I had two of those. That could be an area that was very well loved, and then something dramatic happened, and then everything had to change. But don't remember the last two cards. But yeah, I would love Tom or Allison or anybody who wants to maybe developing a spread for paranormal readings. I know Ginger, she likes to start her readings with, well, what's the energy, of the land, and that's where I think I was getting a lot. Yeah, because the Five of Wands came up twice, so yeah, like the energy of that land where this faceless hitchhiker is. But I think, Knight of Wands. So there's another Wands, um, something fast moving, a catalyst, a lot of power behind it. So things like that, and then building off of what's on the bottom, Three of Wands. The expansion, that's interesting because our ancestors, those who came over and started taking over the land, there was that expansion, taking over the country, taking the lands from the indigenous people, claiming it for our own. That Knight of Wands that moved in through, to me, that could represent maybe military, the willpower over people, to take over, moving fast. Again, the cutting down and burning of a lot of the forests. So with that expansion, so yeah, it could very well be an expansion of our peoples coming across that, and taking over the indigenous lands. Again, that could be also, part of that energy, like Allison was mentioning with the conflicts and, them having to create something or something coming out of that. I mean, we've heard a lot of stories about how certain chiefs or shamans or medicine people, not saying all of them, because some people say, well, then you're saying that. I don't want to claim that or put out there that if someone is a shaman or a medicine man or woman, that they're going to do hex or negative magic or evil magic. That's not what I'm saying. This here is just that putting a protection or creating something to help protect the land, and or to, like, okay, you took this from us. This could very well be a curse put in some place as well. And sometimes there isn't, but just the word or the idea when it's planted into somebody's head to create that, okay, now if I go on here, so something happened, that's the curse. So again, like with the curse of the mummy. And really quick, did you hear they might be bringing back the mummy, and Brendan Fraser might be in it. Well, is planning on being in it. I don't know if that's fake news or what, but that would be cool. Let's see. Yes, Tom, absolutely. I have changed my mind about many things. I never say never anymore. And I used to say never about things. So we're going to have some more of those shows where we're going to have those deep dive conversations, them deep dish conversations. That starts with a preformed hypothesis, and that's about the land, though. This may have nothing to do with the land or ancestral in any way. So how do we know? We can hypothesize, maybe go with what feels right to us and shall be added, even if we know after we die, we'll only know then. And if we were to be, and we would all, we would all lose it again. But I can see, if I were to go before Tom knocking on his wall and he'd be like, Heather, what? Leave me alone. Yes, I know that's you. I know you're on the other side. Yes, I'll see you. I'll talk to you later. Oh, boy. We don't know anything until we're dead. Yes. Wait a minute. Tom, new and improved. What did I miss? Sorry. I'm multitasking. And that's when Tom goes, your skepticism and what happens after we die that you commented on. Well, we can only embrace what we've experienced. Again, everybody's going to be different. But it is good to have a healthy dose of skepticism, but just not to the point where everything is all cut and dry skepticism and there's no room for other possibilities. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah. That's the word of the day. Today's show has been brought to you by the word hypothesis. You have a beautiful sunrise right now. That's nice. And Christina says, till we have a past life regression or the karma. I don't know. I had a couple times in my life, I've had someone try to put me under, for past life regression and stuff. And my mind just would not do it. So I don't know if it's just that they weren't very good or if that was my spirit, my guide saying, no, she's not to know. She can't have any knowing, at least not right now. So perhaps at some point I'll be able to maybe get some answers. Although I don't know if any of you were there to catch. Speaking of reincarnation, Selena did have M. Belanger on. Tom, I know you weren't there. I don't think you were able to make it. And I know Allison, you weren't there, but Michelle, well, her name was Michelle, I think. Well, I can't say she now. So M. Belanger, who prefers to go by he now, started out when I was younger, when I was watching the Paranormal State. We all remember that show where they would bring them in, her in, and I'm just trying to rewire my brain. Brought him in back then he was a her, but they would bring Michelle in, and then we just referred to her in the past tense from there, and to read on locations along with Chip Coffee, and then going on to other shows over the years. And when I found out that Selena was having her on, I was like, oh my goodness, I got to be there. And she released a book recently on past life prompts. You were there for a bit, and so that's very interesting. And we were having a very interesting conversation about reincarnation, past life, all the different possibilities that it could be. It could be us just tapping into the collective conscious or Akashic records, or it could be that we're connecting to maybe relatives in the past or people that we may have known reaching through to us through our memories, or it could very well be our soul that had a previous incarnation. So I think it's fascinating. And a few months back, I was trying to see if I could get Rochelle from Amethyst Ascension to maybe do a show with me or a panel on the reincarnation, but I guess it fell through. I never heard back. So I would still love to do a show one night and get a couple of people on just to talk about reincarnation. I mean, of course, Tom will be there, to offer his healthy dose of skepticism. And apparently Allison, if she wants to join, to add her little bit of spice of skepticism. But just having maybe another perspective, maybe getting Selena to join us. I love to have those conversations because sometimes the dreams I have and things I started learning way when I was young, and I'm like, how would I know about this? So yeah, that's something that would be very cool to get together with and talk about. So well, it's 3:55 my time, which makes it 8 o'clock. So I'm keeping people probably from their dinner. So I think I may go ahead and say adios. I don't know about tomorrow. I got a big week next week coming up. And so I will be here Monday for the Sacred Feminine, and Jackie B is going to be joining me. We're going to be looking at African goddesses, and I'm trying to find the correct term. If somebody knows it, please let me know, because some of the goddesses that are in my book aren't necessarily from Africa, but they come from areas where, like Haiti, so they left Africa but went to other countries. And I want to make sure that I am properly and respectfully putting the right designation, and acknowledgement. And I hate saying the word label, but the correct, you know, title, name, term, to keep it very respectful. I may even still reach out to, maybe Jackie might know. Selena and Bobby had a really good show the other night, and I love the combo. Yeah, I wasn't there for that night. So yeah, we'll be looking at, because it's going to be the last Monday of National Women's Month here in the States for women. And like it should be every month, no matter who you are. Everybody should be celebrated every day. We had some, I didn't know about the No Kings protests across the country today. I know we did have one down in Ashland. So I hope everybody has stayed safe. Stay safe. No one had been hurt. People's voices were heard, and hopefully some, messages, strong messages, are getting out. Um, so I hope everybody was safe today in speaking up against, speaking up for their freedoms. Heather, Allison, this will probably be unpopular, but I don't think we are told that by our guides. I think we can ask about anything we want, and it's up to us as readers to interpret. I like I said, I appreciate both examples. I actually had somebody tell me before that they felt like I was blocked, that I was blocking them, that I had put my energy up, and then I was like, well, I don't think I did that. And then I was told the possibility for that, or a potential reason for that, was because either my guides felt this was something I didn't need to know at this time, or my higher self didn't want to know at this time. So I found that very interesting. Of course, Tom says guide Shemides. Tom, you're not going to like it when I become a guide for you. I'm going to be harassing the shit out of you once I'm on the other side. Knock, knock, knock. Who you going to call? So thank you, Jax. I hope you're feeling better, my dear. I know you're still, I hope, and also, again, please wish Vin a very happy birthday for me. I hope you're all enjoying his birthday today and having a good time, and that I'm not laughing at you, Jax. Everyone knows I'm laughing at please take it easy, my dear. Let people do as much as possible. You don't need to be doing everything, sweetheart. Wait a minute. I will exorcise the shit out of you. Go grab that holy water. In the name of the Lord, I compel you to leave. And let's see. Allison says, and it's worth mentioning, I didn't used to think that way or feel that way. So that's something else that's different. I don't do much of it, just saying. Again, that's what we're so low key day. That's good. It's good to check in on our beliefs and how we think, how we feel, what we see, what we perceive. Because if we don't, we can stagnate. So, oh well, I guess the two of them are going to be, jumping on Heather now. Great. I lost my cohort. I lost my partner in this. Oh my God. I'm going to have to find someone new. They're going to be gaining up on me. But let's see. I have a huge plate of, see, I can't eat animal stomach. But enjoy, my dear. Enjoy. Jax is like, yum. So, yeah, we're going to have steak and eggs tonight for dinner. And I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be yummy. And of course, with some melted cheese. I got to have cheese. We all float down here. Yeah, well, I'm going to stay where I'm at. Well, to a certain degree, but like I said, it's always good to have. Join us. Ha ha ha. I shall never join the dark side. Never. Like Luke. No. Tom, no. Oh, anyway, it was fun, everybody. I wanted to take a break from, the drama here. I got to meet with it. Oh, so Allison, Tom, you're here in chat. I got to meet, Crystal went with me this morning at 8 o'clock. We met with our local not congressman, councilman, the main one here in Ashland about the park. And first time I ever did that. So I did something something new. It's something that I know I'm going to have to learn how to do, on how to speak to, people in politics and things. And I learned a lot from Crystal today, and establishing a connection with people now in my new home in my community. And so, yeah, and tomorrow we're having a community um, group meeting over at Crystal's house, and see how we can proceed further with our situation. And there's just so many intermittent factors that I'm glad that he invited me to have coffee. I had her come with me, and I'm learning the verbiage, and going to be learning pretty much soon what citations and things, all of that stuff. So I'm learning a lot. So I thought it was just the 8th of March. That's International Women's Day. That's all international from for the month of March. It's I believe it's only in the States that's March is National Women's Day. I could be wrong. It'd be nice if it was international, but I know Monday the 8th was international because they put it on that day. So that's what I was going by. And hello, Cat Goddess. I'm just ready to head out the door. Thanks for popping in and saying hi. I am going to go sit outside with Shan for a while, see how things are going, maybe across the street, come back in, play with my oil pastel for a bit, and just chill. And she goes, I mean, nothing like sitting down and having a cup of coffee. For me today, I told Shan, I want some tea. So he made me some of my Darjeeling tea with just a little bit of sugar, just a little bit. So I'm starting to try to wean myself off a little bit at a time, and a little splash of milk. So Carter talk, coffee talk, cough. Oh, I like that. I may do that next time. I'll write that instead. So people see that, go, what the hell is that? Tom made me do it. All righty, everybody. It is very good. So thank you again, everybody, for joining Sylvia and I last night. Those who hung out with us for the art session yesterday. I appreciate everyone who continues to support me. And I'm going to blame you all the way. But no, I appreciate everyone's support. And yeah. We'll see everybody on the next show, and have a great night, everyone. And I'll talk to y'all later. Bye. Like what he said.